I'd like some work, my friend. You got anything?
I have a client with a problem. You'll get your normal rate to assist them with it. The target you're after is on a boat at the northern mouth of the West River. Take it out.
Mother...
I remember booting up Anthem for the first time, and wow, the feeling of flying in a javelin suit was unreal. It's like you're Iron Man zooming through lush jungles and towering cliffs. But what kept me hooked wasn't just the flying, it was the loot grind. Each mission had me diving into swarms of enemies, hoping for those sweet masterwork and legendary items. And the variety? Insane. Every weapon and component had its quirks, and mixing different builds felt like an ongoing experiment. The world of Anthem was full of danger, but that's what made the loot so rewarding. You earn it, you feel powerful, and the satisfaction of blasting a Titan after upgrading your gear was unmatched. Sure, the game had its hiccups, but when the loot system clicked, it was hard to put down. Anthem's world still sticks with me because of those chaotic, loot-heavy fights. For anyone craving fast-paced, loot-driven action with high-flying thrills, Anthem definitely delivered moments that were hard to forget.
Unpleasant Scar Leader is down. Very well done.
Next is Warframe. You start off as a space ninja, slicing and blasting your way through hordes of enemies at breakneck speed. But the real hook? The loot. Every mission was a treasure hunt, and I couldn't stop chasing the next weapon blueprint or rare Warframe part. What really amazed me was the sheer variety. You've got dozens of Warframes, each with unique powers and hundreds of weapons to craft. I remember farming for Rhino, my first tanky frame, and the excitement when I finally built him was unforgettable. And let's not even talk about prime frames, those are the holy grail. Every run felt like progress, and the satisfaction of finding that rare mod or unlocking new gear kept me glued to the game. Plus, Warframe's co-op made it even better. Teaming up with friends to tackle tougher missions and share the loot made every session feel like an epic grind fest. When I first loaded up Remnant 2, I thought, alright, let's see what the sequel can do. What I didn't expect was to get sucked into a chaotic, loot-heavy adventure that wouldn't let me go. Each dungeon was packed with tough-as-nails bosses and hidden secrets, and beating them felt like a well-earned badge of honor. Loot in Remnant 2 is more than just weapons. It's about building your character to survive. I remember unlocking the Challenger archetype, which made me a tanky damage dealer. But the best part? You can combine classes to make crazy hybrid builds. I spent hours swapping out rings, amulets, and weapons, trying to find that perfect balance of power and survivability. The bosses here don't mess around. You'll die a lot, but each victory feels earned, and the loot they drop is absolutely worth the grind. And just when you think you've seen everything, a random event or hidden quest throws you for a loop.
Refreshing my memory.
Next game is the First Descendant. The game throws you into a beautifully chaotic world filled with colossal bosses and non-stop firefights. The hunt for better gear, every mission, raid, or skirmish felt like a chance to grab that elusive legendary weapon or rare enhancement. The characters or descendants each have unique abilities, and unlocking new ones became an obsession. I remember using Freyna's poison attacks to melt through mobs, all while hunting for mods to fine-tune her abilities. And let's talk about the co-op experience. Teaming up with friends made those massive battles even more thrilling, especially when a rare loot drop appeared. The hook was the constant progression. You're not just collecting gear, you're building your perfect killing machine, tailoring every loadout to match your playstyle. And with the game's evolving world, there's always something new to chase.
Vulgus leading the assault.
Next game is Deep Rock Galactic. Imagine teaming up with a squad of dwarves, each with unique abilities to mine precious resources in alien-infested caves. The twist? The loot. Each mission is a race against time and danger, where digging for minerals is just as intense as surviving waves of deadly creatures. The addictive this game provides is the constant pursuit of better gear. Farming for the perfect weapon mods to make my driller more efficient at cutting through rock, while the engineer kept fortifying our position. The loot grind is surprisingly satisfying, especially when you're crafting or upgrading new equipment after every successful run. The random nature of each cave makes every mission feel fresh, and the loot rewards for completing objectives or defeating massive enemies always kept me coming back. Deep Rock Galactic isn't just about mining, it's about teamwork, exploration, and that sweet, sweet loot. The first time I launched Lost Ark, I had no idea just how much time I was about to lose. It's an action-packed, top-down MMO with a loot system that'll keep you grinding for days. You start off with some basic gear, but the real magic happens as you dive deeper into the game and start collecting rare weapons, armor, and accessories. Each new piece of loot feels like a power-up that transforms your character into something stronger, faster, and more dangerous. Grinding through dungeons, battling bosses, and exploring the expansive world of Arkesia, all while chasing those elusive legendary items. The loot system is generous, and there's always something new to craft, upgrade, or enhance. And the variety of classes? It's wild. If you're playing a sorceress or a gunlancer, you'll find yourself constantly tweaking your build to get the best possible combination of stats and abilities. Every time I thought I'd seen it all, new raids, events, or updates would pull me back in for more. If you love loot-driven progression and enjoy feeling like a powerhouse as you level up, Lost Ark will have you hooked for the long haul. Next is Risk of Rain 2. The game throws you into random, alien-infested worlds, and your goal is simple: survive and loot. It's about the thrill of collecting power-ups that completely change the way you play. Every item you grab feels like it's making you stronger, but there's always the risk of it all falling apart as the enemies get tougher and more relentless. I remember stacking items like a madman, trying to create the perfect build, crits, speed, or explosive damage, anything to make me feel like an unstoppable force. But the randomness of the loot kept me on my toes, and I couldn't help but try again and again, hoping for the perfect combination. Every run feels fresh because of the variety in items, environments, and enemy types, and that loot drop after defeating a boss? It's a rush. Risk of Rain 2 is so addictive because of the loop. Find loot, power up, fight hordes, and repeat. It's simple, yet so rewarding, and every time you think you've mastered the game, a new challenge and loot combo keeps you coming back for more. Next masterpiece is Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I was immediately hit with that chaotic, quirky Borderlands vibe, but with a whole new fantasy twist. Imagine playing a Dungeons & Dragons style adventure, but instead of just rolling dice, you're looting and shooting your way through wild, imaginative environments. The loot system in this game is a loot hunter's dream. Every weapon, spell, and piece of gear has a unique, zany twist, and I couldn't wait to discover what the next loot chest would offer. The grind was so addictive because the way loot completely alters how you play. There's so much variety, from shotguns that shoot swords to spells that summon skeletons. The loot hunt felt endless, and I was always chasing that next item that would give my character the perfect edge. Plus, the game's constant stream of randomized loot drops after battles kept me engaged. Tiny Tina's own narration is hilarious and adds a layer of charm that makes the loot grind feel even more rewarding. Every time I leveled up, I couldn't wait to see what insane loot I'd get next. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands combines humor, creativity, and addictive loot progression. making it an absolute blast to play over and over. Next is Dead Cells. It felt like diving into an endless loop of high-stakes combat and satisfying loot hunting. From the moment I started slashing my way through the rogue-like environments, I was hooked. Every run felt fresh, and the loot system really kept me on my toes. It wasn't just about finding new weapons, it was about discovering the perfect combination of gear and abilities to match my playstyle. What makes this game so amazing is the way loot drops seamlessly affect your strategy. If you're upgrading your health, stacking damage boosts, or unlocking special skills, each item you find opens up a whole new possibility for how you approach enemies. I remember experimenting with different builds, combining a bow with traps or going full melee with a sword and shield. And then there's the thrill of finding a legendary weapon or rare item that can make or break a run. The random nature of the loot means you're always chasing that next piece to make your build stronger. Dead Cells doesn't just offer loot, it makes the grind fun, rewarding, and challenging every time you jump in. Final game is Path of Exile 2. When it was first announced, and after getting my hands on it, I can confidently say it lives up to the hype. Path of Exile has always been known for its deep loot system, but Path of Exile 2 takes it to a whole new level. The game starts off with a huge emphasis on customization, and that's what immediately hooked me. The loot you collect isn't just about the power, it's about building the perfect character to suit your playstyle. The sheer volume of items in the game is mind-boggling. You'll find yourself obsessively farming for specific mods, creating intricate item combinations, and upgrading your gear to perfection. And let's not forget about the skill gems. You can socket them into your gear, giving each weapon and armor piece its own unique abilities. The loot grind in Path of Exile 2 is about endless experimentation and making every piece of loot feel special. If you love loot-based games with a ton of depth and replayability, Path of Exile 2 will have you hooked for hundreds of hours.
I finally found the madman who heartbreaks.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content on the latest and greatest games. Don't forget to ring the bell so you never miss an update. Got a game you'd love to see in a future video? Drop your suggestions in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Stay tuned and see you next time.